Jacob.
I'm Yuri.
And we're going for a drive.
2020 Honda Civic Type R.
With somewhat of a launch control. What an experience. Pure wheel slip off the line.
Horsepower torque.
306 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque from a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder.
Has that changed at all?
No, it hasn't.
Nice.
So coming off that nasty launch, let's just floor it. So much better once you're actually going, and holy crap, is this fast.
Yeah, this is the front wheel drive.
Dude, getting back into this, I couldn't believe how good it was. Like, first corner I took, yes, Civic Type R.
Yeah, this is definitely the coolest, best driving front wheel drive car.
It's so good. Like, they just keep improving it too.
What have they changed?
Well, lots. Let's start with Boost Blue.
I like it.
I like it a lot.
It reminds me a little too much of that Ford color that everyone has on every Mustang.
Yeah, but this doesn't have that flake in it.
I'm not about this color.
I love it.
They also had a red last year, which we never drove.
Yeah.
And I think there's a limited edition yellow, so overall there's 5 Civic Type R colors.
Yes, but only 3 that are kind of really available in Canada.
Personally, white.
Championship white is definitely solid.
Said yellow is really sick, but it's too hard to get.
Yes. The next thing that's new, since we're on the outside, we have a larger grille opening, and the front bumper just kind of has been redesigned.
Yeah, those fake grills on the front, they made them actually solid and then added holes where there needed to be intakes. Then they also added a blue accent to help break that up.
It does look better.
Nobody can say it's got fake vents at the front.
Yeah, so they've even listened to the criticisms of everyone saying that there's fake vents everywhere, which there still are, but they've improved the front.
And then new for the back end, they've changed the fake vents that are in the bumper.
Yes, so we still do have fake vents, but they've kind of separated them from the plastic backing, which makes them look a little bit more real.
I fully support that. That is a good change, and I think anyone who needs to do fake vents should do it like that instead of having just like a solid mold that looks lame.
It definitely looks better this way.
Because if you took a Sawzall and cut that off, then it would be a real vent. I don't know if it would do anything, but it would be a real vent.
Yeah, I wonder what's behind there. I bet someone on the internet's already done it.
Yeah, maybe they just put sheet metal in there instead.
I think it's probably just plastic.
Just like your Mustang.
Yeah, that's in the front, Yuri. Come on.
And then those fake vents at the back are also broken up with a body matched line right through the middle. So overall, great job.
And sticking with the exterior improvements, which actually translate to the interior, we now have standard Honda sensing, which is lane keep assist and adaptive cruise, which is really nice to have in a hot hatch.
Yeah, making a hardcore car seems like a fun idea until you drive it a ton, and then you just really like having those comforts.
But this is so good because it still has comfort mode and it's still so comfortable because they've also improved the suspension for this year.
How about the brakes?
Brakes are also improved. They're now 2-piece front rotors, so you actually get better cooling on the racetrack. Not that we actually experienced any brake fade or any power delivery failures or anything on the track when we tracked the 2017 and the 2019 as well, or 2018.
We've had no issues with the Type R on track at all.
Yeah, but other people have on the internet, so I guess it is an issue because Honda has addressed it.
And before we keep going, I want to give a huge shout out to Playseat. They hooked us up with some amazing sim racing rigs to play GT Sport with.
Yeah, and we also use those for iRacing as part of the Porsche Canada Esports Cup. That was amazing. Shout out Playseat because this is super high quality stuff. We love using it to play all our games online.
We started off with the Challenge that folded up nicely into a closet. And then we got the Evolution, which folded down differently, but still was a very solid setup. And now we have the Sensation Pro, which I actually have my TV mounted to.
Yeah, I love the Sensation Pro. It's a serious rig. I love how it looks. Everything about it doesn't move. Everything is so good.
And the TGT steering wheel setup for playing Gran Turismo Sport is amazing. So much force feedback, it's the best.
So check out playseat.com and playseatstore.com for all the rigs that we've been using. And more interior stuff that they've changed. This is a weird one. Let me floor it. Sounds louder in here, doesn't it?
Apparently there's pumped in audio in here.
Yeah, it's heavily pumped in because now I'm going to go into comfort mode and then go downshift and floor. Kind of sounds the same, but wait. That downshift right there. So watch this, watch this.
Do that in R mode?
Watch this. That.
Okay, you can really hear it on the downshift.
Exactly. So they added pumped-in audio that you can't turn off that changes between the drive modes.
Yeah, I think it's a huge mistake to not be able to turn it off.
Yeah, and it's so buzzy. It's like a really annoying tone.
I think the obvious solution for this is to not have pumped-in audio. Instead, go to Hot Rod Scott's and get a valved exhaust like I have in my Civic. Yes, I am a Civic owner.
Yes, and I have it in my Mustang as well.
And that solves everything, because Civics sound amazing with wide open exhaust.
Yo, Type R! Triple gloss still, baby! Yo, let's go!
Well, they sound like something.
Perfection.
I mean, you did lose the exhaust battle, so. And they also changed the shift knob and the shift boot for this year, so we now have Alcantara, and I actually really like the weight of this shifter. Not that I had any issue with the previous Type R transmission or the shift knob, this one's just better.
Was the last one circle?
Yeah, it was more circular.
And this one's more like that old Type R that we drove.
Yes, which is also similar to like the S2000, so I think they did like a heritage thing.
Oh, that's fun. And then we also have an Alcantara steering wheel in this one too.
Yeah, which I also really like, but I also had no issue with the previous one.
Yeah.
So the changes that they made were all good and nothing's really bad, but I don't think it needed really almost any of those changes.
They just needed a button to be able to toggle the pumped-in audio.
Yes.
And then add a button to turn on or off auto rev matching.
Yes, and then actually just add valved exhaust.
So to refresh everybody on how we would turn off auto rev matching,
Oh, it's the worst. You gotta park.
you need to come to a complete stop, have the e-brake on, go into your settings, go to vehicle, go to assist, and then turn it off, and then confirm that you're turning it off.
Yeah, and because the heel toe isn't actually the best position for both of us in this car, we've both just left it on because the rev matching is so good.
Yeah, for me, it's instead of heel and toe, it's more toe and right side of the ball of my foot.
Yeah, same here, and then I just kind of smash my foot down there. But it's not as bad as like a Focus RS, which doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So the final thing is upgraded suspension, including retuned adaptive suspension. So I'm gonna downshift and send it into cliche corner and see how that feels like. Okay, still feels like a Type R. I can't say that it feels any better because the previous one already felt so good, and man, this thing just rips through cliche. Like, holy crap, I don't remember this being so good, but now that I drive it, it must have been this good.
I think we've become much better drivers in the 4 years since we started the channel and reviewed the Civic Type R.
For sure we have.
So we can really get a lot more out of it now.
But even driving the Veloster N and the Civic Type R like last year or 2 years ago, this just feels even better than I remember both of them feeling at that time.
Yeah.
It's just such a good car. One final send and we'll get you into the driver's seat. Oh, that sound just, I don't like it. All right, that's enough.
All right, I'll try to do a less nasty launch.
Please do.
Man, that thing really comes to life once you're off the line.
Yeah, like it pulls so hard and just keeps pulling.
And if you like getting updates on the cars we reviewed before, make sure you subscribe, because when new changes happen, we're gonna drive those cars.
Hit the subscribe and notification bell.
So hopping back in the Type R, some of the things I don't like, we still have that button on the door handle.
Yeah, if you put your hand in to unlock, it'll actually unlock without it, but if you want to lock the car, you got to press the outside button.
Yeah, I feel like we've moved past that as an automotive community.
Well, sort of. Some companies still have it.
Then when we put on our right signal, we've got that little camera that shows up there in the middle. I don't really like that. I'm not going to use it. So that's kind of another weird thing that's still here.
And we still have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and part of that annoyance with the right camera is that if you turn on your right signal, it pops in and out of that, and you just have to keep waiting for it to refresh and stuff.
Yeah, and this infotainment screen is pretty small. It is an older system, but lucky for us, we do have a volume knob and hard buttons on the left, so it is somewhat usable, but still like...
There is no tuning knob, which is deadly on the highway when you're trying to find a station.
Yeah, it's not good, it's tolerable, but we also do have our winding satellite radio station, which is nice. So this one is still a 4-seater. Do you fit in the back seat, Jacob?
Yes, I do.
At 6'1.5". And then how about the trunk space?
Box test.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then still with us from probably the first box test, Kevsky Pops for 10 and Todd Mrs. Elise for 11. So it still fits 11 boxes. It's still just as good as pretty much every single SUV, which proves that if you need to haul stuff around, you can get a Type R instead of an SUV, as long as you don't need to do serious off-roading.
Yeah, I think everyone should just be driving around in Civic Type Rs because this holds just as many boxes as an Audi RS Q8. Sure, it's not as fast, doesn't have all-wheel drive, but fits just as much stuff.
Yeah, and if you're like, well, I can't drive a Type R, it looks ridiculous. Get it in black, take the wing off.
Yeah, everyone just buy a Civic Type R and we're gonna be a very happy society.
So then we still have an ancient reverse camera, which sucks, but I'll let it slide. We've got our wireless charging tray, then we've got cables that run underneath with all the cool compartments that we liked before, we still like.
Yeah, nothing has changed in this interior.
We still really like our cup holder section. It'll fit so many different variations of cups, and the armrest will slide forward and back. It was genius then, it's genius now, and what's also genius is the privacy cover in the trunk.
Yeah, it works so well, and no other company has done anything similar to that.
Yeah, it has like no footprint at all.
And let's check the visors.
These, do they pass? 3, 2, 1.
Of course
Yes.
they pass. Come on, Honda.
My memories.
And something else that hasn't changed, which is still fantastic, the driving position.
Oh my God, you're stuck in these seats, so when you're going through turns quickly into Cliche Corner, you don't move at all.
And that was the thing that I loved so much more on the racetrack when we drove this and the Veloster N back to back.
I know, it like really made that much of a difference, and even being more low down, you feel like you're in a sportier car.
Yeah, and vision's still good. This is just, it's such a good car, and it can't be said enough times.
Yeah, they killed it then, they killed it now. We still have those awesome shift lights that flash when you get to red light, and then we can also change the screen to have those other shift lights as well.
And one thing that still isn't awesome is that the fact that we still have Plus R mode, normal, and comfort. So you can't actually customize any mode. You're just stuck with whatever they give you.
Yeah, I figure they can't do too many upgrades because then like reprogramming computer and buttons probably costs a lot when they don't need to.
Yeah, it just would be nice because every other company basically has an individual drive mode, and comfort mode for the suspension is so good for daily driving. R mode is still tolerable. It's not as stiff as like the Veloster N, but I would just like the ability to change between that and including the steering as well.
Yeah, some people might get sick of the heavy steering.
Exactly, because the heavy steering is very noticeable in Plus R. And since everything on this interior still holds up, what about the exterior?
Every time I see a Civic Type R on the road, I'm still just as excited as when they first came out.
So am I, so I think that's a yes from both of us.
It's kind of got that Miata factor, that when I see someone driving one, I'm like, this person is smarter than everyone else I see on the road.
Yeah, and I still love these wheels, and we still have the same amazing Conti Sport Contact 6 tires that we love so much.
They are literally my favorite tire.
By the way, that's the recommended tire, because that's the one that it comes with.
Which is also on the new NSX.
Yeah, which is fantastic and makes the NSX so much better in the refreshed second generation.
All right, little boot into Cliche Corner, and then we'll get to the price.
Bro, give it a big boot into Cliche Corner.
This thing is still just as quick as I remember it. I kind of wish my Civic was this good.
Yeah, it's nowhere near this good.
No, I don't even
Like
think a Type
nothing.
R that gen would be near this good.
No, it wouldn't be.
So let's get to the price.
It actually keeps climbing every single year, which is a little frustrating to see because it started out so well. This one is $45,991 with the optional $500 Boost Blue paint.
Canadian. Didn't it start out at like 39, really competitive?
Exactly.
Or 41, and then the Veloster undercut that a bit, or by a bunch.
It was right around 40 grand, and it just keeps climbing every year.
So competition-wise, there really hasn't been anything since the Veloster N. The GTI, I don't think that's really competition for this.
Not really. The Golf R would be competition because of the price.
But that's all-wheel drive, and there's really nothing front-wheel drive that can compete with the Type R.
Other than the Veloster N, no.
So let us know what you think of all the new changes to the 2020 Civic Type R. Did they do everything right by making it louder like we complained about and getting rid of the fake vents like we complained about?
Yeah, well, I personally don't think they did it the right way, but let us know in the comments and check out this playlist of other cool cars, including our old Type R versus Veloster N video. Pretty sick comparison. I'd click there.
Still don't know which one I would buy.
I would take this one.
But the Veloster N was sick.
Yeah, well.